Okay, so what we have here in our beaker is a specimen of something that I taught you guys about yesterday. Now that's a bit of a review. We talked about this a little bit today already. But what's on the stick? Raise your hand if you think you know. What's on the stick? Stanley?
Fungus.
Okay. It's a symbiotic relationship. This organism forms a symbiotic relationship between a fungus and something else. A fungus and something else. Ruben?
Algae.
A fungus and an algae. Okay? A fungus and an algae living together in harmony. They live together. You see, the fungus provides a home for the algae to live. And the algae provides energy because an algae is a plant-like protist. It absorbs energy from the sun, creating sugars, and the fungus can eat those sugars. So they live together in harmony, like I've asked you about your family. Do you donate to part of the family, being part of the family, or are you just a parasite? Are you living symbiotically, or are you just a parasite? That's a question you need to ask yourself every day. What is this, Mr. Lane, a motivational speaker? No. Okay, so this is a symbiotic relationship between a fungus and an algae. But what was the topic? What is the name of that thing? Raise your hand if you think you know the name of that thing. What is it, Miss? It's a lichen. I liken a lichen to be a lichen because I like lichens. They're likable.
Me too.
That was silly. That's like the joke yesterday. Do you remember that one? Crock-a-baloney. Okay, let me show you. A hydrated algae, lichen is green like this. And the dehydrated one is a little bit more brown, like the one on the top. It's a little difficult to see through our projector, but the camera picks it up fairly well. Okay? And that's about it. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of this under the microscope. All right. So we're going to take a look at this lichen under the microscope, if we can find it here. Seems like there's a lot of particles here. Looks like there's some black chunks here, and I'm thinking that the lichen's pretty... I smashed it up, but it's pretty thick, and it's going to come through a little bit black. See that? So that's kind of what I figured. If we took the lichen and we smashed it, maybe it would be thin enough to see through. I'm not getting that impression that that's going to work. So let's take a look at a smaller bit of it, because this looks like parts of it that got smashed off. See if we can see anything. We'll turn to the next higher power. I don't know. What I'm getting the most out of this is probably just some cell walls. You can see some cells. It's a little furry looking. But I'm not seeing any other microorganisms swimming around at this point. Can you tell how kind of furry it is?
No, not really.
I think it's just a little bit too thick for the light to shine through. Let me see if I can change the light setting and maybe get a little bit more. I'm going to set it to the highest light setting, see if we can get enough light shining through the lichen itself. Still pretty dark, but looks like that's pieces of it there. There you go. You kind of see through here. See, can you see now it looks a little bit more fuzzy, like hairy, furry? Here's some more of those cells. Okay, since we've got this thing going on, oh, what's this? It's just more chunks of it. I'm really not seeing a lot of detail in this, so.
Can you like smear it?
since we've got the microscope going, and I know I've taught you this before, but I've told it to you whether or not you learned it. Let's see what you learned. This is something, a huge thing, and there's actually quite a few of them, and they're on my slide. And I see them, but it's really not what I'm looking for. I want you to identify 2 words that describe these things. First of all, what's a scientific word to describe these things that I'm seeing that I really am not looking for? The scientific word to describe the thing I see but I'm not really looking for. Gabby? It's an artifact. That's right. So, can you guess what these artifacts are? Can you guess? Yes?
Scratches.
Scratches, yeah. On the cover slip, the small piece of glass that I put on the longer slide glass, okay? On that cover slip, it got scratched. So that's going to be your scratches. All right, so I think we successfully determined that although we can see the lichen, it just looks like a clump of, it looked like it was moving. That's weird. It looks like just a clump of dirt. Let's try zooming in on this one and see. I'm starting to see something I kind of like here. And I really didn't expect to see this. This is my first time looking at a lichen under a microscope. I've got the mouse pointer on a section here. Let me move the black pointer onto it. Raise your hand if you can tell me the color of this. Put your hand down and look at it. Think. Think. Class, what color is this?
Green.
Green. If it is green, there is evidence of something, some organelle inside this organism. There's evidence of some organelle inside this organism. Miss. Chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are inside single-celled organisms called protists. What kind? Animal-like, plant-like, or fungus-like, class?
Plant-like.
Plant-like. So, algae, a plant-like protist, is forming a symbiotic relationship with the fungus to create, what do we call it? Together, what do they call?
Lichen.
Lichens. Very good. And I think we'll be done with that.